Hello and welcome to another creature case study. In this case study, we're going to take a look at the chameleon creature. So to start off, here are the body parts of the chameleon. Here's the tongue, by the way. Here's the rig. You can see the tongue is sticking out. It's a rather fancy rig. And let's play the animation. Okay, you can see there's quite a few things going on. Let's start off with the tongue. You're probably most curious about the tongue. Now the tongue is actually composed of these chain of bones over here. And what's actually going on is that we are doing a couple of very fancy tricks, obviously. The first thing we're doing is we are using a rotate psychomotor at the base of the tongue to give it a bit of wiggle action. And as you progress down the chain of bones of the tongue, you notice there are a bunch of band physics motors with their physics mode set to motion. So we get maximal motion, maximal bending and stretching. And if you were just to do that, the tongue would obviously be wagging around, but it wouldn't stretch out. So how do we actually accomplish that? Well, that's a trick. Well, not really. It's actually a power of creature. That's done using a mesh deformation motor. So if you go to regions, and if we select the tongue, you notice it says control point motor. So if you click on edit motor, if I zoom out, you notice I have this big, gigantic control point that's surrounding the straight tongue. And this control point is basically warped. It's basically scaled in the x direction. So it basically enlarges and then stretches out the tongue. So if you look at it, let's see. That's what it's doing. And all the things that are getting animated are the scale X animation knots. So you can see the scale X values are getting set over the entire time range. And so the tongue is getting stretched out and then compressed back. The other thing we need to do, very important, is to check the advanced projection knob. And this enables the tongue, when deformed, to actually follow that chain of bones, right? So when you play it back, that's what you get. It's a combination of bone physics and control point motors. That's how the tongue snapping out and snapping in effect is achieved. Okay, the rest of the effects are pretty straightforward if you've seen the other creature demos. The body has a deformed physics motor with the interior regions painted white to be rigid and the rest allowed to deform physically and dynamically like flesh. Okay? And the legs are your standard walk cycles accomplished using the smooth IK rotate motors. So each of these legs has a smooth IK rotate motor. And for added effect, the base of the foot, we have a bunch of rotate psychomotors just to sort of twist in, compress in, and expand out the foot like a real chameleon. The other thing that's really interesting are the eyes. You can see the eyes are rotating almost. And that is accomplished with, again, the control point motors. But this time round, we're actually animating. We're placing a single control point on the eye region, and we're actually animating the angles. So it's actually twisting and rotating that control point on top of the eye. And that makes it more like a chameleon, because chameleons actually twist the eyes. Right. Okay, so that basically concludes this chameleon tutorial. Thanks for watching this video.